Every video game you ever played, every app on your phone, every website you ever visited, everything was built with one of these two languages, C and C++, and most beginners have no idea what's actually difference between them. Let's start with the most basic thing you can ever do in a programming language, printing something on the screen. In C programming, you will write printf, parenthesis, that bracket is called parenthesis, and you have to use those commas, and you will write whatever you want to print inside there. And printf is a function. We will learn about it in upcoming videos, and those double quotes are extremely important. Don't forget to mention them. Hello world is the text you want to print on the screen, so you can write anything. As an example, hello world is very well known in the coding industry, but we will use hey Diddy instead of that. And then the last part is semicolon. That thing is very important because that is kind of like a full stop. It's like I'm the best, period. So it's like I'm the best, full stop. It's almost like that. So it's very important to end something. In C++, on the other hand, we replace printf with cout. Cout basically means character output. You can obviously say it from the name, and you can see two signs which looks like bigger than or less than that type of sign. So these are basically called insertion operator or stream insertion operator. It basically means send this to the output. And again, same as before, double quote is also used here. And remember this, there is no use of parenthesis in C++, especially in this part. So no parenthesis here. And it also ends with a semicolon. You can easily see that. With these two completely different style, you will get absolutely the same result. So it's basically the first difference you would ever learn, and it would be better if you learn those languages side by side, so you can learn easily two languages as fast as you can. That was for output. Let's talk about a little bit about the input. In C, when you want to take input from the user, you basically write scanf %d and a number, and we also use parentheses and those double quote and also semicolon at the end. But you can ask, what is that %d is doing, like what that means? It is important because you have to tell C exactly what type of data you're expecting. Integer, then you have to write %d. Yes, if it's about text, then you have to write %s. If it's decimal, you have to write %f. C doesn't assume anything. You spell out every single detail. But in C++, it's quite easier. You have to write the same thing in this way. C in, and this is a different logo here. The previous one was going through the left side, but this is going to right side, and it is basically called extraction operator or stream extraction operator. The previous one, which one was going to the left, was called insertion operator or stream insertion operator. So these are quite different thing. And see this, cout, and the arrow is going towards cout, and it basically means send out to screen. It is for output, and for input we use cin, and that arrow is going opposite of it, like the right side, and it basically means bring in from keyboard. Like it's basically for input. So I hope you understand. Now that one thing that I should have mentioned before, but it's quite easy to understand, so that's why I'm putting in the third place, but it will be in the top of the programming code. So it's very important. Start of a program, especially at the start of C program, you write include stdio.h. stdio means standard input output, and that .h in the end, that means header file. So that's the header file which would be in the top of every C programming code. Of course, you would get used to it because you have to write this thing every single time. But for modern C++, you have to write in this way. At first in C++, you have to write include, #include, and then iostream. Yes, you basically replace stdio.h with iostream, and that stream word is very popular with C++. And there is no .h used in C++, but C++ have second line. Like you have to write these two lines every single time, and the second line is using namespace std and then semicolon. It will be similar like every single time. You have to write these two lines every single time you write a C++ code. And why that second line, like using namespace std? It basically tells C++, hey, I don't want to type std before everything, just let me write cout directly. If you don't write that thing, so you had to write std before like every printf or every like cout scene. So yeah, that's why you have to write that at the beginning. Yeah, just a small difference, but if you're running writing a big code, then it makes much more easier, like it makes your work more smaller. Now talk about comments. Well, what is comments? Comments are basically some texts or comments which are inside the code but not like putting any effort on the code, like they don't change the code. It's just like small information, like a note you can put for other coders or other programmers. I can talk about that in another video. It's basically an invisible code which is there just to inform you or just to let you know something or memorize something. Yeah, we'll explain it more clearly in upcoming videos where I will talk about variables and other stuff. But first, in C, if you want to write a node inside your code, you can do this. You can see you have to end the comment in C programming. Like, yeah, there's a beginning and there is an ending. Like, you have to open it every single time and also to close it by using these signs. Yeah, like exactly like this, these stars and this falling eye logo. Yeah, just kidding. That is called slash. Slash and stars are quite used in, but in C++ you have to use double slash, and the good part is you don't have to end that thing. You just put double slash in the beginning and you can write any node or any comment you want, and that's it. Very simple. No opening and no closing. Every modern language nowadays, Python, Java, JavaScript, they also use it, but it was first discovered by C++. So yeah, big plus for him. Now a very important difference, like this difference changed the history of programming. C has no classes. Let me explain what that means in simple English. Imagine you're building a game. You have a car in the game, like suppose GTA 6 and a awesome looking car like Lambo. The car has a color, suppose orange, a speed limit, and a brand, Lambo for instance, and the car can accelerate, brake, and turn and crash, like do many things that a car does. It can also give horn, you know what I'm saying. In C, the color, speed, and brand are stored in one place. Okay, the acceleration, the brake, and turn function are stored somewhere completely different place, like a separate place. They're basically not connected. It's like, yeah, they are two different sector and they're stored separately and not connected at all. You have to manually link everything together, but that's the main difference in C++. You create one thing called a class and you put everything inside it. Yes, again I'm saying the best revolution C++ ever made is on object-oriented programming, and that's the main important part of C++ that makes it different from C. So again, back to the topic. Suppose we created a thing called class about cars. So we write this class car on the top, and we will put curly braces and we will write everything, a vital thing inside that curly braces. Yeah, like color, speed, acceleration, and brand name, like everything. I'm just giving you some assumption, like I'm just giving you idea. We will do more detail about this in upcoming time. Of course, I will talk more about the object-oriented programming. So just you have to basically understand the data and the functions live together here. Like they're literally connected with each other. They belong to each other like a real car. And yes, my friend, this is called object-oriented programming, and it is the foundation of how almost every modern language works today. And C++ is basically mother of it. He or she gave birth to this programming thing, and which is used in modern technology very often. Obviously, no game couldn't have developed without this thing. So yeah, very, very, very important thing. If you're in an intense debate with a mouth breather or a loser, if he asks you that if you don't know any difference between C and C++, just say object-oriented programming on his mouth. Like it will just make you stand out, like you just won the battle. For another thing you have to appreciate C++ is function overloading. Well, let me explain. In C, if you want to add two integers, you write a function called addInt, like add integer. If you want to add two decimals, you write a completely different function called addFloat. because yeah, float is used for decimals in C language. Different name every single time, yeah. But in C++, I mean, you can add both of them. Just write add int a int b, or add float a float b. The word add is very useful in C++. Like, you don't have to stress out too much. But in C, you have to do everything manually. So yeah, that's a plus point for C++. We will learn more about this in detail in upcoming videos. Now, talking about memory, both C and C++ make you manage your own memory. Other languages like Python, they will do it for you automatically, but you know, C and C++ make you manage your own memory, but in a different way. Like, both do differently. C uses like this way. Yeah, it seems pretty complex, but if I break down that, it will take like 1 hour or 2 hours, because I have to tell you everything from the scratch. So just understand the difference. Like, in memory, they also function differently, and in C++, that would be the same thing, would look like this. My boy who worked for me, he chose this thing. I told him to use some easy example. That idiot, I would just fire him today. I mean, just understand, both of these two will do the same thing, but they do look like completely different, you know. New and delete, these two in C++ work with objects. Malloc and free only work with raw memory blocks. Like, this free thing will only work with raw memory blocks. Now, you probably won't understand anything if you're a beginner. Okay, just understand this. When you start building complex program, that will make a huge difference. So yeah, I mean, there is a difference between them in the memory sector. And that star beating is a pointer, so we'll also get to know that in upcoming videos. Now, reference is a very vital thing for coding and programming, but you know, in C it only has pointers. Yeah, only pointers. If you've done coding before, you would probably know that pointers are very annoying, man. But C++ also kept pointers and also added something called references. It would look something like this: int and ref, like, yeah, obviously that means reference, equal to number, like assume it's a number, and that semicolon. A reference is like a nickname for a variable. Easier to use, harder to mess up, like less chance of your program crashing at 2 a.m. because of a wild pointer. C++ basically gave you a safer option. You still have the power, just with a seat belt, a safety net. And talking about error, that error thing is a very annoying thing in coding. And in C, if you made any error in the program, it crashes. That's it, game over. Like, you have to like manually check what went wrong, like where is the possible error could be. But in C++ introduced a try and catch thing. In try, you will put your risky code here, and you will end that between curly braces, and you will add another thing called catch, and you will handle the error here and like between these curly braces. And whenever your program hits a problem, instead of crashing, this thing catches it and handles it and keeps going. Like, this is how every serious application works today. Banks, hospitals, airlines, all using same version of this error handling concept that C++ introduced. Now, a small difference but an important one: bool. Yeah, bool. C originally has no true or no false. You need 1 and 0 in C programming. Like, you will use 1 and 0 most of the time, but C++ gave you another thing, a proper bool data type, like true and false, clean and readable. And strings, another thing, strings, that's also used in C language, but it's just a bunch of characters in an array. Yeah, quite messy, very easy to break, so that's the issue. But in C++, string is its own proper data type. You just write a string name equal to like any name. Suppose I write John here, John Cena, and done. We'll learn more detail about it. Another last thing is file extensions. C files ends in .c, and C++ files end in .cpp. Oh yeah, simple, just for basic knowledge, but you need to know that. Some simple and proper difference between them, like these things. This thing will help you a lot. Like, this graph tells you difference between them, some like similar thing but a different name between them. So this will definitely help you a lot if you learn this properly. So you would be can easily switch between these two languages. Like, for basic beginner, yeah. For advanced beginner, you have to be more expert in it. So it's just for or I really think you should take take a screenshot of it and be expert in it. And why C++ was important? Every single improvement, every single develop it made, C++ took C and also made it like more human thing, like more close to, I mean, more easy to understand and more easy to work for a long time. So yeah,